I really loved your remember on the show 2-3 weeks ago we brought up the topic of making decisions and how important that is. And then during the week after that, you followed up brilliantly with actually digging up like the 36 things.
Yeah. And there could have been more. I mean, those are just the 36 I came up with.
No, there's plenty more along the way. But anyway, that was more than enough, and that would have been pretty embarrassing for the guys in there. But I've got a number 37, and I think it's the biggest mistake that they've made.
Okay.
And it's a bit left field. You'll never guess this.
Okay.
If I gave you 2 years to sit down and try to find this one, you'll never guess it. I've spoken about Grant and his ability to assess players early, which is really important. It's an important skill to have. It's something that Kyle Shanahan does not have. There's no doubt about that. And to me, I found Grant 18 months ago maybe, and wow, I love finding intelligent people along the way wherever they come from. And to me, if I were the 49ers, they've known you and heard from you longer than that.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, tell me, okay, now your YouTube has taken off and all that, which is fantastic. But if they had have put an offer to you to work for them 2 years ago, would you have been tempted to take that?
Tempted? I would have taken it in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
Exactly. So here's my point. I looked through your 36 errors that they made, and I counted 14 of them just in the time that I've known you, where the 49ers wouldn't have made those mistakes if you were in the organization putting input.
So I see where you're going with this. You're saying that not hiring me was number 37.
Not hiring you was number 37, and it was a big one because it would have cut out about half of all the ones, to me, if I find smart people, I don't care who they are or where they come from or whatever, I'm bringing them in, because that's how you make the organization better. You want to bring the best people in. So I think that was 37, but actually the biggest one.
Well, thank you. Well, if I could toot my own horn for a second, I want to say that I'm not the greatest at scouting players, watching college film, watching college players play. That's hard. But I'll tell you, when I watch them on a practice field, in an NFL practice field, mini camp, training camp, I can see it pretty quickly. Anyone can see it pretty quickly. It's professionals playing against professionals. I'll remember in 2018, one of the first practices I ever saw Dante Pettis compete in with the Niners. I was open-minded. I saw him alligator arm a pass over the middle, and that was all I needed to see because I'd been to 8 years of these practices. You don't see that in a professional practice. Professional football wide receivers don't do that. If you're at the stage in a non-contact practice, it's not going to work out. And that's ultimately why he failed. He's afraid of contact. I could see that right away. And I feel like some of these coaches just have, for one reason or another, won't allow themselves to see the truth.
Well, look, I'll give you the perfect example. One of the mistakes we made in last year's draft, and it's obvious in hindsight, but I remember at the time I was looking at it, and our first pick in the draft, and I really wanted an O-line. I didn't want a D-line, okay? I didn't want Kinlaw, even though I like him, fantastic backstory of his, which is really, really nice. But here was the thing. I didn't want a D-line. I wanted the O-line. I wanted Kristen Works. Yeah. But not because of him specifically, or Javon Kinlaw specifically. It didn't matter that, but because Grant I already heard the assessment from Grant, and I trust him, was Kerry Hyder, Givens, Street, all these guys, right? So I just looked at that and thought, well, okay, Grant's always right. He's never been wrong so far. And so I trust that those players are good enough. And I'm looking at the depth and I'm going, well, we don't need D-line anymore. And at that stage we still had Bosa, we still had other guys, Armstead, well, whatever. And so O-line was the problem. Now imagine what we would have been like this year if we had Williams on the left and say
Tristan on the right. My goodness,
Tristan on the right.
Yeah, so the two best tackles in the league, arguably. I mean, it would have been amazing.
It would have been amazing. So and the only way you can make that decision is if you can make really early assessments of
your own roster. Your own roster.
Yes,
they're always surprised by how good their depth is. Like Kentavious Street comes on the field and he plays just as well as Javon Kinlaw. Like, wow, who knew? Who knew we had this guy?
Yeah. So number one mistake from the Niners, not hiring Grant.
I appreciate it. I'm not going to argue with you on that one.